back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Burkle. Here on the coast today, Aaron. Go ahead and say hi, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Bye, Aaron. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying our content. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this episode, we'll be talking about the updated college football playoff rankings, as well as a little bit of a Week 13 recap in the college football realm. Starting off, let's go ahead and pull up those updated rankings real quick. So, not a whole lot of movement at the number one spot, as Georgia remains the same at number one. But the 2 through 6 spots, a little bit of a shakeup. With that Michigan victory over Ohio State this past week, we see Michigan moving up to 2, Washington up to 3, Florida State up to 4, Oregon up to 5, and Ohio State falling all the way down to the 6th spot. Of course, we know Florida State barely came out of this past weekend with a victory over the old Florida Gators in what ended up being a really tough game after with a Jordan Travis-less Florida State Seminoles team. But then if you continue looking down the list, we got number 7 Texas, number 8 Alabama, and number 9 Missouri all hold form. However, with that big loss by Louisville to the University of Kentucky, they fall down to the 14th spot, while Penn State, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma and LSU all move up 1 respectively. Aaron, what's your thoughts as we kind of look over this updated college football playoff ranking?
Yeah, kind of one game that I kind of forgot to mention in our little pre-session talk was Oklahoma State getting a big win, and that seals the deal. They'll be facing Texas in the Big 12 playoff, Big 12 championship rather. But yeah, there's some questions maybe answered this week. Got Washington and Oregon coming up. So one of them will drop. And then Alabama, Georgia, that game could have massive implications as well.
Yeah, and if unfortunately, if we look back at this past week, we had a few games that almost went Missouri's way. Missouri basically eliminated from any sort of college football playoff contention at this point. I know we're all upset to hear it, but with Florida State beating Florida, Alabama beating Auburn, Oregon State beating Oregon, or Oregon beating Oregon State, pardon my French, Washington beating Washington State, Oklahoma State winning their game and going on to the Big 12 championship, Texas beating Texas Tech. A couple things could have went Missouri's way. Maybe they could have found themselves in the college football playoffs. But unfortunately, just the dice did not roll our way, and we'll be on the outside looking in at the number 9 seed, but hoping for a New Year's Six Bowl. I think we got a pretty good shot at it as the best number 2, or best 2-loss team, I should say, team in the nation.
As of right now.
I mean, if Bama loses, I think we should still be the best 2-loss team in the nation, but besides,
Oregon?
No, they're going to win. Like, we'll talk about it in another episode of Swivel Chair Sports. But I have Oregon beating Washington in that game. But yeah, I guess some other games we kind of got to look back at from this past week. That Florida State-Florida game, like you talked about, kind of came down to the wire. But Alabama-Auburn being the biggest talked about game probably this weekend. Coming down to the last play, Alabama's quarterback throwing a touchdown pass to win the game down the stretch. Man, as a Missouri fan, that just sucked to see, huh?
I mean, sure, if you had any sort of disillusion that we had a shot at making the college football playoff, sure.
But I
But
mean, okay, take the college football playoffs out of it, we still would have jumped up in the rankings. That's my whole thing.
maybe, I suppose. I suppose that is a pretty bad loss.
Are you saying that Bama would have stayed at 8 if they lost to an unranked Auburn team?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't know. It's I think it all a lot. Huh?
listen, man. It all matters at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That could be the difference between us being like a Orange Bowl or Cotton Bowl, or I don't know, Peach Bowl or Cotton Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it does make sense that we would then jump them. Um,
I mean, I would hope
I
so.
guess a lot of it kind of would depend on what they do in the SEC championship game.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance that Missouri? I mean, obviously, as far as playoff hopes go, it doesn't matter at this point. But do you think that if Auburn does lose to Georgia, do you think Missouri jumps them?
If Auburn loses to Georgia,
If Alabama loses to Georgia, I don't know how much more clear I can be about that, Aaron. Sorry. If Alabama loses to Georgia, do you think Missouri jumps Alabama?
no,
So you think
no,
Alabama?
I think it's too.
Right?
They consider at this point having Alabama beaten Auburn. I think they consider Alabama a better two-loss team than Missouri, purely because they made it to the college football or the SEC championship game, and they lost to the number one team in the country.
But the only reason that Missouri didn't make it to the SEC championship game is because they're in the same division as the best team in the country.
Who they lost to, and they lost to LSU, who Alabama beat.
The Heisman candidate, but
Who they beat,
one of the
and we
best
didn't.
one of the best quarterbacks in college football history. But
Who they beat, and we didn't.
he only.
You're not helping your case here.
Fine. All right. I guess the other game we need to talk about, kind of from this past week, was that Louisville Kentucky game. Obviously, Louisville kind of basically blowing any chance they had at making a New Year's Six bowl this year, because they're going to the ACC championship game against Florida State, a beat up, battered Florida State team that they have a really good shot at beating. If they were still the 10 seed right now, and they beat Florida State this week, this upcoming ACC championship game, you would think Louisville would basically have guaranteed a New Year's Six bowl, but now they kind of have to win this game to make that happen. Am I wrong? And then even in that case, they may not still make it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily certain that win, makes them jump to like a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't think it does. I don't think it does.
You don't think
Because
they
that
would
loss
jump
to Kentucky's.
That loss to
No, I
Kentucky's
think
bad. That's bad loss. Yeah, that's a bad
Yeah.
loss. I mean, they had 4 votes from the AP, from the looks of it. Sorry, from the AP voting, but still, I mean, Kentucky's by no means a good team, a great team. A good team, sure, but not a great team.
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad as some people might think. They're really solid on the O line and the run game, but their quarterback play and receiver play is really inconsistent, and that's kind of bitten them in the ass all season. But yeah, I don't think they look on that loss favorably at all, and I don't think it's enough for them to jump up into the top 10. Given that they would be beating a handicapped Florida State team.
Yeah. That's another good point too. Is that it's not like it's not Florida State. It's a hampered, handicapped Florida State. So I think another thing that before we kind of wrap this up, another thing that I know at least Missouri and Ole Miss fans have kind of been looking at. I know Ole Miss fans don't like that we're ranked ahead of them.
Tough. We're better than them.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't really understand their argument with that one. I can pull up the schedules real quick. I think we have a better strength of schedule. Obviously, we have the same record at 10-2. But if I remember right, I think I checked and I think we had a better strength of schedule. I don't know where I would find that at.
College football FPI, we are ranked 16. They're ranked 15.
Oh, so it's like right about the same then.
Resume, they have. They're ranked 8th, and we are ranked 10.
So you could argue they might have a better schedule than us, or a tougher schedule than us.
Well, I don't think so.
See, I know that there was some places that were saying we had a tougher schedule, I thought.
I think our schedules are very comparable.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the teams that we played that were currently ranked kind of fell off towards the end of the season. K-State,
right. K-State, Kentucky,
25 now.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Kentucky was ranked when we play them. They're obviously unranked now.
Right.
LSU's still ranked. Tennessee's still ranked.
Barely ranked, but yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Georgia.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to them. Ole Miss did beat LSU, so that could be the one argument they have against us. We didn't play Alabama, so we can't say we beat them. We both lost to Georgia. So I could see the argument that Ole Miss fans are making, but at the end of the day, suck it, nerds! Ha ha!
I just think a lot of our wins were more convincing than theirs.
Yeah, I mean, you could also, I mean, it's tough for me to say because I'm in kind of like the Missouri bubble, but it felt like people cared about us more. But again, that could have just purely been.
What do you mean?
Like the national media.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think we were a cute story.
Yeah, we're a cute story in the fact that, oh, look at Mizzou on this Cinderella run. You know, they might. No, nobody was really talking about us beating Georgia.
Well,
you
no, but nobody was talking about Ole Miss beating Georgia either.
Yeah, they were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they shouldn't have.
I know. They're probably gonna hate me for saying this, but I thought they were overrated from day one. That Tulane win was a lot closer than it should have been. They got smacked by Alabama, and then they.
I mean, literally,
in a shootout.
Literally the week after we gave Georgia a run for their money, losing by 9, Ole Miss goes out there and loses by damn near 40. Like, yeah, I don't think you could look at that. And then after that, they played UL Monroe and then Mississippi State, who is not good this year.
They almost lost to A&M, who's not good this year.
Yeah.
They almost lost to Auburn,
who's not. They almost lost to Arkansas, who we beat by like 4 touchdowns. I don't know how they beat LSU by 4.
They caught LSU at the right time.
Or
the whole
6, whatever it was.
The whole thing with Ole Miss was they were supposed to, have this high-powered offense with Lane Kiffin at the helm and Jackson Dart, but they just looked really bad at times.
Yeah.
You would think that they'd put up, more than 27 against Arkansas,
Right.
who was really bad this year.
Yeah,
You would
Arkansas
think they
sucks.
put up more than 28 against Auburn, who was really bad this year. Um, and I think it kind of showed, especially in that Georgia game, that their offense wasn't nearly as good as what it should be.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Missouri's just better than Ole Miss this year. I mean, it may be biased for us to say that with you wearing your Missouri T-shirt, and me with Kansas City in the background, but suck it. So, yeah. And is there anything else you wanted to say over the updated college football playoff rankings? All right, then that'll do it here for the Must Know Professional Sports YouTube channel. Silver Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Burkle. Here's my coach today, Aaron. Go ahead and say bye, Aaron.
Iron.
That'll do it. Deuces.